Alright folks, here we go. So, I was able to get it out. It was not as difficult as I thought, but also more difficult than I thought. You don't just grab them and yank them out. You have to grab them and push them that way, because the way this mechanism works here is it'll push these tabs. These tabs here hold the radio in. They're going to be pushed out naturally. And when you stick these things in here, it pushes them up, so you have to bend it like this, so it forces these to go down. It's a complicated process. I actually had to put some heavy-duty gloves on because I was hurting the arcs of my fingers. But once I got that, I pulled them apart like this and kind of tried yanking it out, jimmying it a little bit, and it didn't want to go. So what I eventually ended up doing is I grabbed it, took a deep breath, and just yanked it out, and it came right out just like it is now. So, sorry, the camera is doing that glitchy thing again, but what you want to look at now is on the back side of it, there's a couple of wires. There's the actual radio harness wire, which is this one, and then there's the auxiliary. And see that little plug right there? I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it because my finger isn't on it, but here we go. This little plug right there, that's where the antenna would go if this wasn't a premium sound system. But since it's a premium sound system, it's a wireless antenna, and this harness right here controls your flow, current flow to the amp and current flow to the antenna. So this is an optional. You won't see this on base metal Crown Vics and Grand Marquis. It'll just be on the town cars or the fully loaded Grand Marquis. I don't know if it would be on the Crown Vic or not at all though. But that Mustang I didn't have that. But anyway, white tab here, black tab there, pull them out, pull it out. Since there's no antenna output hookup, you don't have to worry about that. But once you get that off, then we'll get into the next part of it. And there she be. Not too overcomplicated. Just yanked it right out, and that's the way that it is. So, taking these things out, which you're going to want to do, is a little difficult, and when I did it on that one, I actually broke it because I was careless, and I just yanked it off. All you need to do is push down on these tabs here, and it will relieve the pressure on it, and you can pull them out. That one was kind of seized up because it'd been in there forever, but this one shouldn't be because I just did it just now, so you can yank those out. I'm not going to do it just yet because I'm not done with it, but that's what that is. This here tape is insulation. Probably best to leave that on. That one didn't have it. As for everything else, there's that antenna hookup. There's the ground if it was a regular radio, which it is not. The way you're gonna take this cover off here is two Hexed T9, or depending on your kit, TX9 screws right here. So let me sit down on my stool so I can actually do this. And then I've got that light on the old lid for the other one. So stick this in here and just turn them. Oops. It's gonna require two hands to do this, I know it. But once you get in that in there, turn it. In case it's seized, I do have a couple of pliers right there. So you'll get that off. Okay, interestingly enough, the screws that came out of this, so this is from a 96, I think, Mustang. This is 95 town car. These are the screws that came out of the town car, and these are the screws that came out of that Mustang. They're a little longer, so don't get them confused. That's not important, that's irrelevant to you guys who are just doing this on one car, but that's interesting nonetheless. So what you're gonna wanna do next is grab onto this here, like that, and try to pry it up a little bit. There's a couple of ridges, these little dimples here on the ends of the ridges are pushed in that way, and then these dimples here are pushed, these dimples here are pushed in from the other way. And all you're gonna wanna do is first get this end off, and the radio, it's actually a fairly light head unit. I'm used to them being very heavy. This probably weighs maybe 2 pounds. It's very light. I think my flashlight weighs more than the radio itself, but what you're going to want to do with two hands is stick your screwdriver in here and and pry up on this without bending it. See, I just bent it a little bit there. So you want to be real careful with that. I'm going to do it off camera again because I can't put this down. I really need to get a cameraman. But just sort of, oh, here we go. Sort of do that, bend it up. There we go, just like that. And work it along the sides here until, I think I am going to need 2 hands, son of a bitch. Well, you know, you get the gist of it. You work it all the way around, and once you get it all the way done on both sides, there are 2 tabs right here and right here. So you're gonna need to take the lid here, and let me see if I can shut that off and show you how this works here. It's gonna be sitting on there like that, right? And as you pull it off, you're gonna have to go like this and pull it back like that, because the tabs, see right there, that tab and that tab are holding it in like that. So you're gonna need to pull it up and out like that. So that's how that one goes. Alright, here we go. And that comes off like that. There is my tape mechanism inside here. And I don't immediately see any signs of a failure, to be straightforward honest. I do see down there, you can barely see it, but let me see if I can get the light on there. If you look down in there in between the cracks, you see that wire sort of looking thing right there in between those 2 things? Well, that's the tape. You can kind of see a little bit better right there. So that's definitely screwed up. But the way that you get this out is, if you want to, you can take out the entire tape deck, which is held in by a screw right there, and then one back behind that right there, and another one right there. Those upper ones are a little bit more difficult to get to, especially this one, because they got all this shit in the way and you can't disconnect it. This one you can disconnect that blue thing, but I'm not going to, because you don't actually need to take the deck out. You can if you want to, but I don't have to, so I'm not going to. What you do is, over here on this side here, there is a little tab. That guy right there. You can see that tab right there, that's your tape mechanical mechanism. And since this is an electric deck, there is no mechanism that hooks up to this, but on a regular traditional one, there will be an armature that comes up right here and manually pushes this back and forth when you hit the eject button. As seen here on this, here's the thing. When I push this forward, see that? It moves. I'm not going to be able to do it very effectively at all with one hand, but it'll move. And let me actually see if I can wedge this up against something so I can show you how this works. It's not going to want to, of course, because I'm filming it, son of a bitch. There we go, see that? So that is tape engaged, right? And disengaged, you just take your screwdriver the same way, and that's disengaged, that forces it to eject. So as you noticed, if you might have noticed, right here, when it's fully disengaged, that armature, or that little thingy, is all the way back, and when it's fully engaged, it's all the way up here. Mine is stuck in the middle. So what I'm going to do here is first push it all the way forward with this, all the way forward into play, and then take my screwdriver the other way and push it all the way back and get the tape out. So I tried it and it failed. And what happened is the armature that controls the eject sort of push the tape out is all bent up and destroyed and caught up inside there, right there. See that? When I move this, it's stuck in that, it's binding itself up in that wheel there. Somehow this skipped over the tape and got all screwed up in there. So this deck might be junk. I might have to throw the Mustang 1 in there because this is completely destroyed. But what I'm going to do now is, off camera of course, is I'm going to take a screwdriver and pry up on this and get this mechanism, this armature, to come all the way back again. And then I'm going to try and force it out again. But this explains why it would not let me eject the cassette, because it was trying to, but it's completely locked up. It's this mechanism had well, what I can only describe as a catastrophic failure. So I found the problem, now I'm going to fix the problem, and I will let everyone know in the description how that went. But now you know if you have this issue, TDE2 and TDE3, which is cassette deck failure to eject and cassette deck failure to read error codes, this is how you fix them. It's fairly simple. Like I said, all you need to do is push this little lever here back and forth, and it controls the function of the tape deck, just like that. That's fully engaged right there, and fully disengaged, just like that. It's a stunningly simple mechanism if it works correctly, which mine does not. So there you be. I will update everybody in the description when I post this, but this one seems to be thoroughly fucked. So I'll see you in the next one.